Breaking news here on CBS Sports HQ. Big news out of the NBA. The Chicago Bulls have hired Billy Donovan as their new head coach. Earlier this month, Donovan and the Thunder parted ways after 5 seasons. Led the Thunder to the playoffs in each of his 5 seasons, including a trip to the Western Conference Finals in his first season. Almost knocked off the Golden State Warriors that year. But then it was the Cleveland Cavaliers who knock off the Warriors to win the NBA title. Always had to work that in there as a Cavaliers fan. Hey, and you got to be a fan of Billy Donovan if you're a Bulls fan, because this guy inherits a young roster, a talented roster. He's looking to make an absolute impact in Chicago and perhaps get them back in the playoff conversation. Get some instant analysis. Welcome in former All-Big Ten forward at Northwestern and CBS Sports basketball analyst Tim Doyle. Tim, the Bulls hiring Billy Donovan. You know I'm a fan of Billy Donovan. Loved watching him as a coach at Florida, then obviously coming to the NBA and doing some good things. What's your reaction to the Bulls hiring Donovan?
It seems to be the Bulls' MO, hiring former college coach Fred Hoiberg. Jim Boylan was a former college coach, and now you bring in Billy Donovan after a very successful stint as an NBA coach in OKC. But I will say this, and knowing Billy Donovan since I was a kid, growing up in the same neighborhood as Billy Donovan, I've known him since he went to St. Agnes High School in Knoxville Center, New York. This will be the most difficult job he has ever had. He inherited a Marshall team that was 9-18. He flipped that schedule right on its head. And then when OKC hired him, it was at that time where it was kind of in vogue to hire a college coach. He was better than expected in OKC, and I think really proved his worth this year after the departures of Kevin Durant, Paul George, Russell Westbrook. After that team blew up, he still got him to the playoffs. But when I look at the talent of this Bulls team, I'm sorry, they are still not close to being a playoff team. When you look at the bottom of the East, whether it's a 6 seed like the 76ers, a 7 seed Nets squad who's only going to get better, or an 8 seed Orlando Magic, I'm sorry, the Nets need to do some major upgrades in the personnel category. They just flat out don't have enough talent. So you bring Donovan in to assess the talent, put in a style of play, and then you got to give him some time, Akeem, to get his players.
Yeah, he inherits a young, talented roster, as you said. What are the Bulls getting in Donovan?
Well, here's a guy who's going to tell you at opening press conference, we're going to be exciting. We're going to play fast. You see the young talent here? We have talent. Yeah, but a lot of it is not materialized. Lauri Markkanen was supposed to be Dirk Nowitzki. I mean, it's almost funny to say that. He's been okay, and I think Wendell Carter, that's his ceiling. 11 points, 12 points, 9 or 10 rebounds. Living in Chicago now for the past 13 years, I actually feel bad for Zach LaVine because his field goal percentage is extremely low because guys just throw him the ball, Hakeem, with like 5 on the shot clock, and they're like, I don't know, go make something happen. And that's a really difficult spot for LaVine to be in. So none of these guys have seemed to be healthy at the same time. And I think the biggest thing the Bulls struggle with is who are you? You know, we can identify the teams that are still playing, and they have an identity. You know, the Bulls were an offensive team with Fred Hoiberg. They were a defensive team with Tom Thibodeau. Like, what are you now? And I think once Billy Donovan comes in and establishes an identity that, hey, we're going to play fast, we're going to spread you out, we're going to shoot a lot of threes, we're going to make a lot of threes, well, then he has to find that personnel that's going to fit that scheme.
Yeah, let the Bulls run here. Bulls have missed the playoffs the last 3 years in a row. You know, as a resident of Chicago, how much Chicago loves basketball, trying to get back into the playoff picture. You said that Donovan won't have them competing for a playoff spot in year 1. When? How long will it take Donovan to get the Bulls back into the playoff picture?
I think it's going to be at least 2 to 3 years. I just think it's figuring out, all right, is Zach LaVine our anchor? Do we want him? If not, let's move him on. They've drafted okay, but they have not hit home runs. You know, they didn't hit Bam Adebayo, Giannis Antetokounmpo type of home runs because they sort of kind of drafted in those positions and sort of kind of had guys like that, and they didn't hit it out of the park. They've done okay. Just when I go to watch them play, I'm always like, all right, what do you guys do that makes you an elite level team? And I think they have a lot of good players, but in order to win in the NBA, you got to have a lot of great players. And like I said, the Sixers were a 6th spot in the East. They're a far cry talent-wise from a team like Philadelphia. But I think Billy Donovan automatically comes in. And the fact that he's not directly coming from college, he's coming from a situation where he won, so the guys are automatically going to respect him because they're going to be like, man, he won a lot of games at OKC, and he won with different type of talent. He won with Kevin Durant, he's won with Russell Westbrook, he's won with a guy like Chris Paul. So right when he steps into that locker room, it's not going to be like, this guy's coming from college. Like, he's going to come in with a certain level of respect factor. And the last time a Long Island guy ended up in Chicago, things seemed to work out pretty well for him. Talking about myself, all right? So, Billy D, give me a call. Shoot me a text. I know some great realtors in the neighborhood. We could use you on my block, for crying out loud.
I love it. I love it. And hey, you were absolutely on point in terms of your analysis, because you're right. This is going to be his most difficult job yet as a head coach. We'll see how it plays out. Billy Donovan, head of the Chicago Bulls. Tim Doyle breaking it down here on CBS Sports HQ. Tim, thanks. Here's a look at the last 5 seasons for the Chicago Bulls. They have missed the playoffs 4 of the last 5 seasons, including the last 3. Perhaps Billy Donovan, now in the mix as the head coach of the Chicago Bulls, will get them back into the playoff picture. Again, he led the Thunder to the playoffs in each of his 5 seasons when he was in OKC.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.